Hello everyone, my name is Ron Z. Welcome back to another episode of Cold Start, and this cold just can't seem to get the hell out of here in Toronto. We're taking a look at the 2019 Mercedes GLC300 4MATIC. Let's roll the clip. Welcome back everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the cinematic video for the 2019 Mercedes GLC300 4MATIC. Now this car starts at $47K here in the Canadian market, and this is actually one of our friend Jasper who bought the car, and we asked him for a review of this bad boy. Now this is the replacement of the GLK, which discontinued here in 2015, 2016-ish. So this continues and took over in 2016 here in the Canadian market. As you can see, they do not look like whatsoever because GLK is pretty boxy. Here is more bubbly, more roundy. So I think this version is more modern, a little bit more acceptable for the Canadian or the consumer market, right? For the styling, for me, I like it when the SUV is more rigid, more boxy, and that's why I prefer the GLK over the GLC. Again, different preferences for different people, right? The front, actually, for one of the package, you can get the night package, which actually blacks out all the chromes over here into a more black accent. For me, that's a little bit more sophisticated, and I do wish that Jasper would have gotten the night package for the GLC300, right? So a lot of cool features, especially the front mesh, very Mercedes-like, and the lights are all done in LED daytime running lights and LED headlights. The side profile, you have a pair of 19-inch aluminum alloy wheels. With any GLC, you start off with a 19-inch wheel, right? So the other four options are all AMG wheels. Unfortunately, he went with the base wheels, but the blue circle over here are actually vinyls that he put on himself, right? So let me know if you guys like it or not. I kind of dig it, in my opinion, but different preferences for different people once again, right? Again, moving at the rear, a lot more rounder and more bubbly than the previous GLK models. And this car is equipped with hands-free power liftgate, which is a premium plus package. But take notice how quickly the technology responds, right? That is very quick. I understand that just because you're equipped with something doesn't mean that it is there, it is nice to use, or it is quick to respond, right? The trunk is actually quite spacious, but what we're gonna notice is that it's quite elevated from the floor, from the other, I guess, SUV on the market, right? And there's kind of a little bit of groove over here, so things don't slide out from the rear trunk. And these seats do fold 60/40 with the power buttons over here by pulling it. And the buttons for folding the seats over here are done in kind of like this aluminum panel or buttons over here, right? Very sophisticated and very luxurious for Mercedes. Can't expect anything less, right? Now these seats do fold 40-20-40 as well on top of the 60/40, but for 40-20-40, you gotta fold the seats on the inside of the vehicle. Overall, quite spacious and quite flat for a lot of organization. One cool feature about the Mercedes GLC is this additional storage compartment that you can lift out over here. But what's really cool about it is that it actually locks. I understand a lot of the SUVs do have this kind of storage compartment, but you can't really lock it. So additional security deposit for whatever you want to hide in your GLC300, right? Depending on your height, you can adjust how high the trunk opens, you know, so you're not vertically challenged like some other people, right? Closest bad boy over here. Another cool feature on the new GLC300 is the rear view camera, right? So it actually tucks away right behind the badge over here. And I understand other cars may have the rear camera washer, but I actually like it when they hide it over here just in case in winter or whatever. Even if you wash it, the washer doesn't freeze. So you'll always get that crystal clear picture every single time. Now the interior of the GLC truly shines in all the luxury aspect, right? So I don't even know where to start. I mean, for one, all these buttons over here, all done in kind of like aluminum material. On top of it, there's different grooves that feel so good on your finger, right? Extends all the way to the seating option over here. And what really impresses me and kind of silly is that these air vents are all done in black, kind of make you feel more sophisticated. I know for the Model X from Tesla, it's all kind of like a beige white, right? So for me, I feel like black also hides away some kind of dirty or uncleanliness. Imagine getting an all-white car and then you see a smudge. That will make me, that will trigger my OCD so much, right? So I don't want that. And also the steering wheel, look at it. There's different holes over here. Of course, this is equipped with heated steering wheel, but look at all these holes over here. That just feels additionally so much more enjoyable on your hand, making the whole overall driving experience just that much more refined and better, right? And the paddle shifter behind it, very easy to reach, although not too big, not too small, and not too intrusive like the Lamborghini. Huge paddle shifters, right? So definitely a lot of brownie points that the GLC wins, in my opinion, for the luxurious touch for the Mercedes, right? And the seats, very comfortable and kind of hugs you a little bit as well, right? Kind of give me the added sporty element of the GLC. I mean, I do see this car, on top of it being a great family vehicle, it does perform quite a bit in the sporty division as well, right? But take a notice at the seatbelt over here. Soft, easy to grab, and it tightens you when you are ready to go, right? I love this feature a lot. I love this feature in cars, just so that it doesn't matter how far you pull the seat belts, it will always pull you back to the most safe position, right? Great job over here as well. And looking at the center console, to me, it definitely reminds me a lot like the C-Class, right? This waterfall over here division looks super nice and elegant. But to me, I don't know if you guys can see it, this is kind of reminds me of like a robot, right? Here's the head, and here's the bow ties, and here's its body, right? Does it feel weird, guys? I don't know if you guys can see it. And here are the 3 air vents that I just mentioned before. Oh, just so elegant and rich. Hardware, software on the infotainment display system, great as well. Pop that over here. This is something that I'm very impressed about on Mercedes. Before, whenever I switch from park to reverse, it takes forever for the rear view camera to come on. But now, look at that. Almost right away. Of course, the lights turn with the steering wheel, that's a given. Top on that over here, you have a 360-degree view of your vehicle. And if you want to get additional view of your 360, there's an additional button over here beside you on your knee, where your knee is, and bam, look at that. You can see a more bird's eye view of your Mercedes GLC. And if you guys are unfamiliar, this middle compartment over here controls the infotainment system right ahead of you, right? The scroll over here, and here's where you can change your dynamic driving mode over here, which we'll test out in just a bit. Here is a volume scroll button over here. Oh, I just love how it has this groove over here with aluminum kind of finish, like it feels so good on your thumb and all your fingers, right? And on top of it, it's where you can kind of use your fingers to navigate certain options on your infotainment screen, right? Pretty cool, very luxurious, and not too complicated or overwhelming, right? So I think with Mercedes is that if you own any Mercedes before, you will always remember how to use your vehicle as soon as you get in. It doesn't matter how old your Mercedes is. The overall configurations is more or less the same, but more refined, right? And this GLC is equipped with sunroof, and you do have the optional panoramic sunroof if you do decide to go with the next trim. But once again, guys, headliners all done in black. To me, brownie points here as well, right? And I'm actually quite impressed with the graphic overall in the Mercedes infotainment system, especially with the vehicle dynamic driving mode, right? So as you can see, let me get that dynamic selection. Certain parts are highlighted as well, right? So very cool. Whoever designed this for the interface shows these little cool features here and there. Here's where the engine is, all that kind of stuff, and bam, look at that. You can see a pretty good detailed view of the engine, transmission, and the suspension, right? I think this kind of graphic is pretty enjoyable, especially you are a driver, and kind of makes you in tune with the vehicle as well, right? Let me see if I can change that and personalize my way. What do I want? What do individual configuration? Oh, look at that, how they tilt. You can see that we're currently selecting on the engine. I'm gonna put that on Sport Plus mode, climate control, and yep, put that on Eco, and auto start and stop. I'm gonna hit that off, and last but not least, steering. Sport as well. I think this kind of configuration really connects the driver to the vehicle and make you forget about a mundane day-to-day drive, right? So pretty cool. I like it when I guess manufacturers do this kind of interaction between the car and the driver. Now, filming in the second row really opened my eyes about how well the Mercedes built, right? So Yu-Chen is currently filming outside of the car, which means the door is open. And as soon as we close it, we notice a tremendous amount of decibel noise differences between outside and interior, which makes you feel like this car on the interior is very, very quiet, and it kind of removes all of the outside noise, right? But anyways, second row, pretty spacious. The leathers are so soft as well. Can't expect anything else from Mercedes as well, right? And I think a lot of misconception, especially when looking at the exterior design of their GLC, is that it slopes downwards, which means that you won't get great headspace, right? But touching this part over here, it raises up and goes down at the same time. So this part is actually elevated, so you have great headspace, so you don't feel cramped whatsoever. So very smart design if you pay close attention to what Mercedes has done to their vehicles. So the center, unfortunately, is a little bit elevated, so that's, to me, is a big miss. Again, different preferences, right? And the air vent kind of follows behind as well, right? So it's done in black, pretty nice. But this car does not have rear heated seats, which I do believe should be a standard option, especially you're at the Premium Plus package, right? Here's how you fold the seats 40, 20, 40 over here. Very simple. Opening up this center compartment, you have this little bit of storage over here, and here is where your cup holders are, right? Unfortunately, they're a little bit stuck, so we can, oh, we got it. There you go, yeah. Here's where you can store additional cups, obviously on top of the two deep cup holder found on the doors, right? Now, so what do we have here, guys? We have a 2-liter turbo 4 engine giving you 241 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. Now, with the 43 and the 63 AMG option, you can go up to V6 and V8, but I think the 2-liter does a great job, especially the one key feature I noticed in the whole overall experience of the car is how smooth this 9-speed automatic transmission kind of make me feel like it has dual clutch, but that doesn't really matter, right? So for a family-oriented SUV, in my opinion, this does a great job, kind of on par or the feeling as a CVT. I know I'll get a lot of hate for me even comparing this with a CVT, right? But the smoothness is definitely there. It's not very lackluster as well. This car does keep you engaged. Like I mentioned before, the steering wheel just feels so good onto your hand, and especially with the suspension, very soft, very enjoyable. And I know you will never feel going over a pothole, right? But the whole overall experience is very minimized and makes you forget about it, right? And just as I've explained with the cabin noise, I just can't hear anything really that goes on outside of my environment, right? So having a very nice conversation with you guys in front of the camera, I'm very focused. This build quality is really amazes me. Great job, so enjoyable. I just didn't expect I would enjoy this car as much as I imagined for the GLC300. And we're gonna find a remote area where we can test out the Sport Plus option and see how we can punch this car 0 to 60. I know it doesn't have launch control, it's not the AMG package, but I want to see how sporty we can get with the Sport Plus. So we've arrived at some pretty remote area to really test out this 2-liter turbo 4 engine. I know it's not the 43 or the 63, but this car can still perform at a very enjoyable and affordable level for your day-to-day commute, right? So this is currently set to Sport Plus, and we're just gonna floor the throttle and see how this car responds, right? So 3, 2. So not too bad at all for the kind of a launch control for the GLC300. I know the 2-liter doesn't really excite anyone, but the 9-speed automatic transmission, especially when you put it on Sport Plus mode, allows you to rev just that much higher. And of course, you guys hear the noise coming out from the engine and the exhaust. Feels quite nice. Definitely a lot of sporty element to the GLC. And I think this car is definitely great for anyone looking for a very luxurious touch for the day-to-day commute, making their family very comfortable. And at the same time, if you're driving by yourself, you want to have a little bit of fun, kick into Sport Plus mode, and bam, you have enjoyment there right away. We're gonna continue on the Sport Plus mode on the regular roads. I do feel like the Sport Plus mode, I think in some vehicles, they make it very obvious, and I think they are trying a little bit too hard with their transmission, right? What I really mean by that is, in some cars, you're gonna notice downshifting the car will make the rev go higher, which gives you that sporty element and punches the car a little bit faster, right? But I feel like I could be driving on Sport Plus day after day or my day-to-day commute because the transmission is, I don't know what they did, but they've done a tremendous job regardless of what the dynamic driving mode is. And it just sounds so great. Look at that. It allows you to do all the way to 6,500 RPM, which is the red line. And it doesn't feel like this car is struggling whatsoever, right? So pairing that once again with the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system will really make this car very enjoyable. The transmission responds so quickly, and it just feels so nice driving this car. Ugh. Great job. And it starts at 47 grand. Ugh. I would take this any day. Until we review the Audi Q5 or the Acura RDX, I can't really make that claim. Until then, I will prefer the GLC300. The biggest difference you guys are gonna realize switching between the Eco or normal mode to the Sport Plus is the steering wheel feel and the throttle response, right? So the steering is going to feel a little bit tighter, a little bit heavier, so the corners are a little bit more precise, and the throttle is taking rev all the way to 6,500 RPM. And by switching that to the manual mode, you can activate the paddle shifter as well, right? And I know that I didn't really quickly mention or go into detail about the 4MATIC or the Mercedes all-wheel drive, right? But I think it's a very clever system because each wheel is calculated with traction and response by distributing torque, and it's individually distributed as well, right? So you're always going to get the best traction in various scenarios, right? But on a regular scenario, it is 60-40 bias, which means that more torque, 60% is sent to the rear wheels and 40 in the front wheel. So I think that kind of distribution will give you the sporty element of an SUV, right? And just in case one of the wheel is losing traction or it's spinning, Mercedes will actually stop that wheel with its brake. Pretty clever, so it will send power to the rest of the three wheels to keep the vehicle in motion. So very clever, and I do wish that we have heavy snow here and there to really test out its all-wheel drive system, but unfortunately everything has been melted, but now it's just dry cold, which I just hate that about the Canadian winter. And pretty clever on the Mercedes paddle shifter system, just in case that for anyone who's not very used to driving paddle shifters in the vehicles, right? Whenever you're engaging the throttle and the RPM, it goes a little bit higher, or it's available or is ready for the next gear, Mercedes will light up a green arrow and indicating that this car is available for you to switch over to the next gear, which let me just experience that one more time. As you can see, my RPM is about 3,500. Now it's reminding me in the dash in front of me that, okay, you can shift to the next gear. Very clever. Again, just in case you're not familiar or never used paddle shifters before or even on how to use it at all, right? So usually guys, we do our outros outside, but it is just so cold today. I'm sorry guys. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the cinematic and the review we did for the 2019 Mercedes GLC300 4MATIC. If there's anything that you guys like that I may have missed, leave it in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button to help us reach to 10,000 subscribers. And I will see you guys on a brand new episode of Cold Start next Saturday. Where's the Sport Plus mode? Okay, there we go. Let's go.